Welcome back for another Green Box Politics episode. I am your host, Red Stick Mirage. Salute, ladies and gentlemen. You back for another classic. So, in this evening's episode, we will talk about another South Side of Atlanta, Clayton County drill music legend. Somebody that was really out there in the streets. Somebody that I had a history with, hearing about this guy in the streets. You know, his name was buzzing, his face card was out there. You know, real mobster, real gangster, really out there, real shootouts, real gang wars, real fighting. You know what I'm saying? All that. None other than the brother Waka Flock of Flames, or who we knew back then as just Waka. Back then, he didn't have that flock of flame on him. But as far as that name Waka, that's been around, since forever. I first heard about Waka more so, through the Southside Mafia versus HitSquad war. See, back then, when I was coming up through, coming out of middle school, going into high school, that's when a lot of the beef really started to heat up. That 2003, 2004, 2005, around that time period when I was going into high school, a lot of the older guys had been already knee deep in the streets, and there was already a big war going on between Southside Mafia and HitSquad. And we talked about the unfortunate situation with the child Trayvon Wilson, rest in power to him and his soul and spirit, and his unfortunate demise at the Riverdale Park. But that was just one of the key events in this, historical violent beef and war between HitSquad and Southside Mafia. And you had a lot of, known people on both sides, people whose names were buzzing throughout the streets for different reasons. Certain people that was known for knocking folks out. Certain people you hear about, you every time you hear him, he possibly is shooting somebody or, trying to step on something. So different people had, names, and it was for different reasons. Some guys were very, very popular with the music, you know what I'm saying? And it was cold with the music, but they may have been affiliated with some of the street gangs that had ties. But people's names were out there, and one of the names was Waka, all right? Now, some of you all may know him as Waka Flock of Flames from his music career with Gucci Mane. But back in the early 2000s, he was just known as Waka on the streets. I personally started hearing about Waka back on the Fuck HitSquad song. That's when I first heard who he was, because certain niggas used to talk about certain names, and I would hear about people on in HitSquad that people didn't like, so I would hear Fuck Kibo or Fuck Cap or Fuck Waka, and a lot of these names, you would hear them, but you never saw these guys' faces. You know what I'm saying? You just hearing these stories. But eventually I did see all these guys' faces throughout the south side of Atlanta when we would have problems. Like, it may have been a thing where we were all at a mall or something like that, and we were running to each other, or these different house parties and these different events going around on the south side of Atlanta, and sometimes in the inner city of Atlanta. You were running to HitSquad, and you would actually get to see these guys' faces, and then, somebody be letting me know, like, hey, bro, that's Walker right there, or hey, that's such and such. Now, me personally, back then, I didn't really want my face to be known like that, because I've always been more like Machiavellian and more kind of like a plotter type. So I didn't want my face card to be known like that. I wanted to be able to sit in the cut and do whatever it was that I was doing. But some of these older guys, their names was out there ringing. And as I say, Walker was one of them. So yeah, that Fuck HitSquad song that the Mafia made, that's where I was first hearing his name, because somebody on there had called him out. And I remember even them back then was running into him, and I would hear his name, from certain guys. So I guess I just said that part for all of y'all that's into like the hip hop rap scene that, saw how Waka was and the energy he came with. It was real. Like, Waka was really out there back then. And as I also said before too, a lot of the energy you saw in Waka's music, like Oh Let's Do It, the Grove Street Party, that drill, slide, crunk, you know what I'm saying, cutthroat, horrorcore 90s Memphis 3-6 Mafia energy, that was all the kind of culture and influence that spilled over to Waka. Now, Waka, I think that his mother is from New York. So, he ended up moving down to Georgia, I think maybe like in his early teenage years or something like that. And from that point forward, he probably transitioned back and forth. But while he was in Georgia, or in Atlanta at least, he was growing up on the south side, Riverdale, College Park. You know what I'm saying? He had ties to Slim Duncan and them over in Morrow. So, Walker was out there, just kind of like how B. Smeezy was on our side. He was a person that was a glue And he was like, he got along with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? He had a face card, so he was tying a lot of people together throughout the South Side. And Hit Squad, like, they was always making music too. Believe it or not, I actually was hearing about Hit Squad music back when I was in like eighth grade. Because I mean, used to have a lot of their mixtapes and little stuff and burn CDs. Because he used to live on Riverdale Road, in Harbortown. You know what I'm saying? Right before you bust that left to go to North Clayton High School, Harbortown. It's on the right hand side when you going North Riverdale Road. Like before you get to that Checkers on the corner, and if you keep going straight, you at the end, and you'll have to get on 285 where that McDonald's is on the right, and on the left hand side it's apartments. But I mean, he used to stay over on Riverdale Road, and he would tell me about little stuff. And I remember Hit Squad, they had a song, get sent bad, fucking with the squad, you get your wig pushed bad. That was a song they had back then that I liked. But Hit Squad, they were already, making, their own little recording and performing music, on their side of town in College Park. Because remember, like, they from like College Park Projects, Main Street, Godby Road, Old National, you know what I'm saying, Riverdale Road, and then like other parts of like College Park that's a little closer to the city of Atlanta. So, they had their own movement. And then what Hit Squad was able to do is they consolidated and had everybody under one banner. So they were all from under the lime green flag. Like, no matter what part they lived in, like if they was under the Hit Squad, you know what I'm saying, they was all under the lime green flag. Like, I remember every time we beefed with Hit Squad, man, them dudes was coming 20, 30, 40, 50 deep. I'm going to be honest with you, they were. And Hit Squad, they weren't no joke. You know what I'm saying? They was some real rivals. Like, it was on some real LA Lakers versus Boston Celtics, like dynasty championships, like headbutting type. That's how it was, So Hit Squad, they were a powerful force. And that's why later on, when y'all saw Waka come out with Gucci Mane and just how piped up he was, and all them dudes with them lime green flags, and Oh Let's Do It, and Grove Street Party, and how he had who was it, Rick Ross. That nigga had P Diddy in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Puff Daddy. So Waka had took that thing to a whole nother level. But Waka was influenced, once again by a lot of the Hit Squad guys making music that I got to give they flowers and they credit. Like the boy Kibo Gotti. Salute to Kibo Gotti. He a real Hit Squad legend. Like, he was like a real Hit Squad general back then. You know what I'm saying? In the streets, he was known for knocking niggas out, shooting, and all kind of wild, crazy stuff. And then Kibo was getting money as well, too. And Kibo always was like an entrepreneur-minded hustler, businessman. He older than me, but that's what I remember about him back then. So it seems like on their side, he was the one that was like a leader, and that was bringing them together and showing them, how to do things like on a higher, more corporate business level, and trying to help them organize. That's who Kibo was. And Kibo was like one of the guys that, you know what I'm saying, that inspired Waka. Another one was that boy Cap. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the boy Jimmy Cap Carter. But the boy Lil Cap, he was a real known Hit Squad member. Real shooter, like really out there, really in the streets, like really connected. You know what I'm saying? He was out there. And Kibo and Cap and Waka, they were all real close. So if y'all want to know who Cap is the one on Oh Let's Do It with Waka. You know what I'm saying? The original one. So that's the boy Jimmy Cap Carter. And Kibo is on Grove Street Party. So if you ever heard Grove Street Party, Kibo Gotti, real Hit Squad legend. And if you heard Oh Let's Do It before, the boy Jimmy Cap Carter, real Hit Squad legend. And of course, Waka, real Hit Squad legend. So these dudes really was like, like I say, pioneers of that South Side, Clayton County drill music. Y'all need to go ahead and give us our flowers on that. Yeah, Chief Keef and them didn't create that. My boy Waka piped that up, and then Waka piped up Chief Keef and them. You gotta think about it. Waka older than me, so he older than Chief Keef and them. And when Chief Keef and them came out with the dreads, like when Chief Keef had that bang, and he had that that's that what I don't like, and having all his boys in the videos with him and the shaking the dreads and stuff and all that. Now I'm gonna give them their credit because they credit their own lane because they put their Chicago twist and their Chicago energy on it. But let's keep it real, like a lot of them were influenced from Gucci and Waka. We just got to keep it real. My boy Gucci influenced Chief Keef. And then Waka was right there with Chief Keef. I mean, with Gucci. So who y'all think the young niggas was looking at? They were looking at Waka. You know what I'm saying? Nigga Waka damn near like 6'4", 6'5". You know what I'm saying? So Waka, he's a big guy. You know, dread-headed, tatted up. You know what I'm saying? So the young niggas, they was looking up to Waka when he was piped up. Him and Slam Duncan, real twin towers. All the different clubs in Atlanta, figure eight. No matter where these niggas was going, they was knocking and laying shit down. This is a fact. So I got to give him his credit, man. Like, he was a real legend. And another thing, the reason why I also keep Waka's name alive and I'm going to give him his flowers is because, remember, if we was out there in the streets and there was certain violence and certain people lost their lives and died, also rest in peace to that boy Trav. It was a dude named Trav in HitSquad. He was another legendary figure in HitSquad. You know, real laid back guy. He went to my high school for a little minute. You know, quiet, always, stayed to himself. You know what I'm saying? But it was a dude named Trav in HitSquad. And he was a beloved member. So I got to salute him. You know what I'm saying? Once again, another Southside legend. No matter what side a nigga from, if you're from the South Side, Clayton County, any of all that, I'm saluting everybody, showing everybody love. But yeah, the boy Trav, one of my memories of him is see me, man, I ain't gonna lie, I used to be deep in that basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like I was always looking to hoop, and I remember bro was in my PE class. That nigga used to never hoop. That nigga was always sitting back, trying to look cool and stuff over there with the women and all that. That's what I remember about bro. He was in my PE class, and he that nigga ain't want to get out there and hoop. I remember, but going back to Smeezy and Waka, what the guys that were able to put a patch and put a healing to the community and try to get rid of the beef and try to bring everybody back together. I got to give the older Mafia members and the older HitSquad guys credit for that, because they did do that. And Waka did it with B Smeezy. My boy Bama did it as well. I remember Bama had a performance, and he was basically saying that, we're going to bring the whole South Side together, and, we getting past all this beef and stuff, and niggas was trying to bring the city together. So I got to give them credit. And, yeah, Waka did it even on the highest level. So even when Waka got way up, and he took all the way off, he brought HitSquad with him. And then he also started rocking with Smeezy. So Waka and Smeezy, they had a relationship too, because they was both into the music. And like I say, they both got that same type of energy. So when Waka started making his music with Gucci Mane, and he created Brick Squad Monopoly, and he brought in Slim Duncan and other guys from the South Side, he had piped up, the Mafia too. So that was real big, or at least to me it was. When I saw Southside Mafia and HitSquad actually come together, when my boy Waka made that he made that LeBron James 2 mixtape, it was that in like 2000 and it probably was like 2010 maybe. 2009, 2010. Oh man. But Waka made that LeBron James 2, and he had that SSM, yep. HST, yep. Oh man. You gotta think how big that is. You got Waka on the song saying Southside Mafia, yep. HitSquad, yep. And it's a song with Waka, Smeezy, and Jimmy Cap Carter on one song. That I be talking guap. I be talking guap. On that LeBron James 2, man, that shit was big, man. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I hear that song, I get the chills. I damn near be feeling like I'm about to get back into the old Blackbeard. But yeah, man, that was powerful when Waka and Smeezy came together and they made that song, and Cap was on the song too. That, to me, that stamped it. I was like, okay, yeah, the South Side, we back. You know what I'm saying? We slowly coming. Like, we about to like put Atlanta on the map in another way. It's just gonna happen in the right space and time so we can influence it from what we up on. But I gotta salute and give Waka, Smeezy, and Bama credit for that, because they laid down the foundation for that. All right. So what we're gonna real quick do is I just want to read some basic information on B Smeezy, and then I want you to see how it connected to Waka Flocka. And now the reason why I'm doing this is to go to show you that even though we had these deadly, violent gang wars, later on when people grew up, and was able to rehabilitate and heal their mind, even though the errors and mistakes have been made, even though certain people have lost their lives, even though, certain people have went to jail and prison. But if the mistakes have already been made, then the best thing you can try to do is be positive moving forward from that and try to create some type of a healing and try to bring the community together. And at least these guys did that through the street music. Because the truth is Waka did not have to look back and pull HitSquad up. And he definitely didn't have to put nobody from Southside Mafia on from all the drama we had going on. So that was big. So what I want to do real quick is, we're going to read about the boy Smeezy real quick, a little biography. And then we'll see how he was able to, click up with Waka. Because once again, we still talk about how Waka is, he the king of this south side of Atlanta drill scene. But we just want to get to this part down here where it says, you know what? No, we're going to start from the top. My bad. So this is just some information on Smeezy, and then we're going to connect it to Waka. It says, coming from the streets, B. Smeezy is a force to be reckoned with. B. Smeezy grew up in the streets of Atlanta, Riverdale to be exact. He was introduced to a life of crime at an early age. B. Smeezy, whose real name is Brian Smith, was a member of the notorious street gang called Southside Mafia, acting as a local rap group, and the gang began to show their faces on the scene in the early 2000s. The group Southside Mafia was constantly facing run-ins with the law. B. Smeezy quickly rose to fame in the streets of Atlanta. He was given the name of the most feared man in Clayton County. Southside Mafia had catchy songs such as Yup, Southside Mafia, Cut Song, and Duck When We Bust. We talked about that. B. Smeezy was incarcerated and facing charges such as murder, burglary, and gang activity. After beating these charges, Smeezy started to focus more on his music career. As I said, the boy Smeezy was knee deep in it, man. Murder charges, like all that. Smeezy and Southside Mafia partner Bama were both picked up by Young Jeezy and were signed to CTE, but Smeezy left due to issues with the label. I'm going to give my boy Bama his own video, but once again, another Southside Mafia legend, Bama. When he hooked up with Young Jeezy. Smeezy created a popular dance that quickly spread throughout Georgia entitled Block Boy Bounce. The song was a hit on the radio and the fans loved it. The official music video teaches people how to actually perform the dance. He had the world going crazy and was soon to be the next biggest thing. Smeezy was always in trouble and could not just shake the law. He was incarcerated again months after his song became a success. After being released from serving his sentence, he quickly jumped back into the studio and began recording his mixtape. So just like a lot of these brothers, they get in trouble, and be going in and out of jail and prison. But when he created that Block Boy Bounce, once again, see, if you was around Smeezy back then, just in the streets, just on some hanging out, like you remember how crazy and funny and just, how this nigga personality was. So when he created the Block Boy Bounce and these niggas surfing and all that, once again, they stamped that. They did. Now this is when he tied it with Waka, because remember, Waka is like he like the HitSquad Smeezy, basically. You know what I'm saying? They like two sides of the same coin, just was in opposite, gangs. Smeezy and longtime friend Waka Flocka started recording music together, and Smeezy was featured on two of Waka Flocka's mixtapes. Smeezy was picked up by Brit Squad Monopoly and continued to work on his mixtape. When DJ Ace, Black Bill Gates, and Trapaholics found out that Smeezy was going to drop a mixtape, they instantly signed on to host his mixtape for him. B. Smeezy finally dropped his first official mixtape called Ask the Streets, which featured songs like Tear the Club Up, Mayweather, and We On. DJs and blog sites says that they can hear the pain in his voice when he raps because he is hungry and this is his time now. After the success of his first mixtape, he is back again and coming harder than ever. Smeezy is currently in the studio working on his second mixtape entitled Victor Hill. I am Clayton County. Stay tuned for more updates. Free NO and free D-Day. Once again, free that boy Neezy, real 220 legend. Once again, he gotta have his own tape, you know what I'm saying? But salute that boy NO, all 2 Dub members. But, to wrap it up with Waka. Waka is the pioneer, you know what I'm saying, that laid down that drill energy that later on influenced some of the young brothers in Chicago. All right. And it just is what it is. So we want to just salute Waka. You know what I'm saying? Salute Hit Squad, 49, 37, real hard head, 37 hard head shit. And once again, this Atlanta music and just the history of the street drill scene. So y'all stay tuned. We out.